Context. So I, 22 female, live in a unit with my roommate that shares a wall with another unit in which my neighbor, 34 female, Jan, lives in. We are not in an apartment complex or anything, just on a property. When we moved in, Jan had the landlord write in a lease about the quiet hours. Jan, though, does not have this in her lease. It was more so to protect her peace of mind, I guess. This was fine, as we had a verbal understanding too. The issue in general. She randomly screams and throws and hits things at random times of day. She also yells sometimes at I don't know who. She lives alone. I have lived in a unit for 3 years and this has been going on a couple times a month. At least once or twice a month on good months. For those 3 years. For the first year or so, we never brought it up because people are entitled to feel frustrated and get it out of their system or maybe have a disorder or something. We thought this would eventually end as we brought it up kindly once, but Jen turned it on us, essentially gaslighting us, so we dropped it. The issue the present day. She's still doing this. It's been 3 years and it normally happens in the morning now after 7 a.m. and rarely before 7 a.m. I have texted them about it and they keep ignoring my texts. I still do it. I have text and proof, but I don't know if it's legal to share here or in general. I also have audio evidence. I have no idea what to do, and I don't want to do something to put her in a bad position with her lease or legal trouble even though she has been not so considerate of us. She has been nice before, and there have been moments of peace, but they just don't last. But I feel I'm out of options. I've mentioned it to my landlord briefly in passing, but as it was in passing, it wasn't highlighted as a concern. Extra information. She had damaged her fridge and thermostat, so they had to be replaced. The landlord told me. She once accused me of calling people and telling them about what she sleep talks about. I went on about how she has sleep issues or something. Very odd, because I never did. Truly up for any constructive criticism or help. This is affecting my sleep and mental health. I need to know if I'll be too far to call authorities or professionals or something, or if I should leave it alone. And now for some comments. My uncle with schizophrenia and PTSD from the Vietnam War has random bouts of screaming and has gone off the deep end with paranoia when his meds have needed adjustment. Her behavior sounds a lot like his when they are off balance. Calling the police on someone who has mental health issues would make you be in the wrong. It results in their deaths way more often than it should. You are not a family member or close friend of this person. Unless her behavior has become aggressive to you or your property, then like with everyone else, you've got to let her live her life. If you try to involve authorities, you absolutely will be in the wrong. The reality is, as before, unless she's an actual danger, then it's unlikely she will get any actual help. Just a traumatic experience with people meddling in her life, and then a worsened neighbor relationship as she'll probably guess it was you. Your choices are to accept it for what it is, get earplugs and so on, or time to move elsewhere. I know, it is a lose-lose for you. Not in the wrong, but I will call social services before I call the police. Way too many mentally ill people in crisis can end up dead when the police are called. Then again, I'm in the US. Talk to the landlord, tell them that you are concerned about her well-being and the noise. Also the accusations of eavesdropping and how she gaslights you if you try to talk to her. I'm wondering why the landlord is so unconcerned about her destruction of property. That doesn't tend to come out of her pocket. Okay, so here is the situation. My fiance's parents, my in-laws, aren't approving of our relationship. We asked why, tried to work it out, but to no avail. The drama started once we announced our engagement and sent out wedding invitations. My fiance's parents lost their invitations after threatening to show up and ruin the wedding. But since the wedding will be held at my house, then I won't guarantee that provoking their invitations will stop them. Matter of fact, that made them more mad. I kept stressing about that, and since our budget could barely cover wedding expenses, I figured hiring security guards won't be possible. I met with my sister and her cop husband who were not close days ago at my parents' house. I told him what's been going on with my in-laws and asked my brother-in-law if he could secure the wedding and stand watch from start to finish to make sure no crap shows or interruptions will happen. For some reason, the room went radio silent. My brother-in-law just stared at me and then covered his mouth like he was pissed or something. I explained again how much of a jerk my in-laws are, and I'm just trying to make sure my wedding won't get ruined. He kept quiet, but I told him it's my only way and he perhaps should say yes because of my financial situation. My sister asked me to follow her to the kitchen, then went off on me saying I went way out of line and should stop treating her husband as my servant, and expecting him to do whatever I want just because I felt bold enough to ask. She also said she was appalled that I'd even consider making my brother-in-law play security guard and not attend the wedding like any other decent guest. I argued that I only asked because he has a background when it comes to taking extra precautions, and also I cannot afford to hire professional security. That would be a bad idea anyway because my friends will start asking questions. But if it's my brother-in-law who's experienced in dealing with these kind of situations and knows how to de-escalate, then that's a win-win. She said I offended him and disrespected him and her as well, then told me he doesn't have to do anything for me and my problems are mine to deal with and not his to worry about. I said fine, but I won't be welcoming him at the wedding then. She paraded me saying that I am being an opportunist jerk and walked out. They left shortly and my parents said I really shouldn't have asked, then pressed the issue by saying brother-in-law isn't welcome to the wedding if he says no. Am I in the wrong or were they overreacting? And now for some comments. You are in the wrong. Can you work for free at my wedding? No. Then don't come to my wedding. Yup. You are in the wrong. First you ask your brother-in-law to work at your wedding, which is totally inappropriate. His family, you're supposed to want him there to celebrate with you and your fiancé, not be your free bouncer. But wait, you double down on your entitlement, telling him that not only should he agree because you don't have a budget for security, but he is uninvited if he doesn't do it. You should apologize to your brother-in-law and elope. You are in the wrong. They aren't overreacting at all. He's supposed to be a guest at your wedding, not free help. You're an opportunist. My son was diagnosed with ADHD, ODD, and will soon be evaluated by his school for autism. He doesn't do what he's told. He doesn't like to be told no. He's manipulative and defiant. We have had numerous issues with him since he was 2, and instead of getting better, he's getting worse. He's 8 years old and still throwing temper tantrums at Walmart because I told him we're not buying the toys he wanted. This was after the behavior expectations I have set with him and my youngest, who is 3 years old and actually better behaved. At one point he stole the same toy I have said numerous times no, and another time he has opened the item knowing full well I would have to pay for it. He's extremely calculated at getting what he wants. At home we had several complaints from the neighbors and the landlord that he was smacking cars to set alarms off, climbing on car roofs and trying to jump from car to car. He has knocked on doors and ran. He had thrown rocks and dog poop, we don't have a dog, over the fence into the freeway behind the apartment complex. We have blocked access to our 4th floor balcony. He is extremely noisy in the apartment to where he's causing noise complaints. Neighbors would bang on the ceiling when he's running around screaming in the apartment. We cannot spend a week without the police at our door because of him. And the landlord sent us a final warning. He has misbehaved in school so much that he's suspended every 2 weeks. And I get phone calls from the school almost every day. His teachers complain that he's disturbing the class, making inappropriate comments, and is defiant. We have tried every parenting trick in the book. I watched Super Nanny religiously and joined parenting groups. Every medication we have tried has not worked. His doctors, counselors, and therapists are telling me the same things I already know and tried. We have taken away video games, toys, and we gave timeouts. We have grounded him so much I can't remember the last time he wasn't grounded. His father is a Marine and at one point suggested that we send him to boot camp because everything we have tried has not worked. He thinks that his behavior has nothing to do with his condition, and he's just a little brat that needs to be set straight before he becomes an adult and gets into even bigger trouble, and that military school will teach him. I told him we need to see what other options we can try, and we should wait for his autism diagnosis. He said that we have tried everything, and I'm being too soft on him, and and I'm the reason he's acting like this. I honestly can't tell if it's his ADHD or if he really is being a brat. His behavior seems way too calculated. My son overheard our conversation and was in his room crying. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to send him away. But if he continues what he's doing, he leaves us with no choice. I know the idea of sending him away is scary for him, and I want this option to be a last resort. Would I be in the wrong? You are in the wrong. Your kid has needs that need special therapeutic intervention, not discipline. There is a reason that traditional parenting techniques aren't working, because he's not a traditional kid. You need the full psych evaluation and good family therapist to help you. You need that therapist that specializes in working with kids like your son. I'm a therapist who works exclusively with children, which is how I can tell you with absolute certainty that sending your kid to one of those kid boot camps will only traumatize him and cause more attachment problems. I obviously don't know the entire family history here, but ODD is a garbage can diagnosis, and usually given to kids who have some sort of trauma. I also wonder about an attachment disorder. If you get an autism diagnosis, probably more like Win, please find a therapist who specializes in this but does not use APA. You and your husband need to be prepared to be very involved in treatment as well. You are in the wrong. Sending him to military school is not going to help him at all. Get him consistent professional help from a therapist who is trained in dealing with ADHD and ODD. Get him medication and get him on it. Maybe also try actually connecting with your child and finding out why he acts this way. Go to family therapy if necessary, instead of just trying to punish all of his problems away. Not in the wrong, but being steered into ineffective methods for your child. Read The Explosive Child. The behavior is a symptom of your child's inability to handle whatever situations are triggering him. Also look at the website Lives in a Balance. It's not APA, and not diagnosis dependent, but is effective for kids with many diagnoses. Your child needs help, not punishment. Nah, this is a super tough situation. However, I would not recommend military school. Maybe some sort of boarding school. But in military school, he will be abused. Keep trying more specialists, and maybe sit down and talk with him and try to get him to open up. A book I would recommend is How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and How to Listen So Kids Will Talk.